Shalom. Welcome to Jerusalem. I'm Ann Perdue in the book, Appointment in Jerusalem by Derek Prince. It is the true story of his wife, Lydia Christensen Prince. Come with me now as we go to the home of Ruth and Derek Prince. We have an appointment in Jerusalem.
I came from a family of what you would call empire builders. All my male relatives that I've ever known were officers in the British Army, but I was a kind of rebel against that tradition. I was elected to a fellowship at King's College, Cambridge at the age of 24, which is probably the youngest anybody's ever held that position. When I wasn't philosophizing, I was really living it up. I led a kind of double life. See, in my quest, I would travel, I would be very intellectual, very lowbrow. I'd spend nights in nightclubs. I mean, I looked everywhere. There wasn't any kind of satisfaction that somebody had to offer that I wasn't willing to sample. I was not a very virtuous person in those days. I decided that either religion was all true or else it was worthless. I threw overboard the 10 Commandments and just lived.
Well, Derek, here we are in Jerusalem, and I know this is a special place for you because this is where you married your first wife, Lydia. Tell me about Lydia. What kind of person was she?
She had certain outstanding characteristics. She had great faith, great courage, and was willing to make a total commitment of her life, such as few people make. She started life with everything on her side. She came from a wealthy family. She had a very good career as a teacher, but beginning to seek, in various ways which are too complicated to explain, she became convinced that the Lord was sending her to Jerusalem.
In seeking God's plan for her life, Lydia said, if there was something special in life that another woman wouldn't do, even if it was difficult or dangerous, that's what I would like to do. She gave up everything the world considers important to follow God's call to Jerusalem, not knowing what she would be doing upon her arrival. After Lydia had been in her one-room basement apartment for 2 months, a Jewish man appeared at her door and asked her to take his dying baby. She took the infant, whose name was Tikva, and nursed her back to health. That was the beginning of a children's home for Jewish and Arab orphans. For 20 years, Lydia was mother to over 70 children. She adopted 8 girls for her very own.
Many, many years later, when she was applying for American citizenship, the representative of the Immigration Department asked her what you have to ask. Would you be willing to take up arms for the United States? But of course, she was well up in years, and it was just an official question. But I always remember, very typical of her, she said, if it was to defend my children, I'd fight like a lioness. And that really was her spirit all through her life. Things that are true and inspiring are pretty rare today. There aren't many stories like that being shown in movies or recorded in books. When there was no food, God sent food. When the children were sick, God would heal them in answer to prayer. It's a true story, things that actually happened. A story of a woman of great faith and courage who accomplished something unique, and there aren't many true, inspiring stories today. Then again, it's tied in all the way through with one of the great historical events of our century, the birth of the State of Israel, and we were actually witnesses of the birth pangs that preceded that birth. And another feature of the story is that in the midst of real conflict and hatred and suspicion, a little group of people were brought together from diverse backgrounds, Arab, Jewish, British, Danish, who really came to love one another, trust one another, stayed together as a family, and out of them there has developed a family that now numbers well over 100 members.